Ethan Caldwell never forgot the moment the offer first landed on the table. It was a Thursday evening, the kind of evening when the house smelled of roasted garlic and lemon from the dinner his wife, Lily, had prepared. The kids were upstairs, the dog was asleep near the fireplace, and for a moment, life looked almost cinematic. Warm light, polished floors, laughter drifting down from the second story. Then William Hawthorne, wealthy investor, notorious bachelor, and Lily's client, leaned back in his chair, tapped a manicured finger against his wineglass, and said, "How about $100,000 for a weekend with Lily?" Ethan stared at him, stunned. He thought it was some sick joke, a line from a satire film. The audacity of it, the arrogance. But then Lily lifted her brows, not offended, but contemplative. "Ethan," she said gently, "maybe hear him out." The room tilted for a moment. His wife didn't instantly recoil. She didn't gasp. She didn't throw water in William's face. She didn't look disgusted. She looked thoughtful. William must have sensed Ethan's disbelief, because he added casually, "It's business, man. A weekend. 2 nights. No strings. 100,000. You could use that for your new studio, right?" Ethan felt something cold settle in his stomach. He managed a laugh, though it came out constricted. "You're insane, both of you." But Lily remained unnervingly calm. "You're stressed about money," she reminded him softly. "This could help us. Just think about it." Her eyes were almost apologetic, but not enough. Not the level of horror he expected. And in that second, a crack formed inside Ethan, hairline but sharp. To anyone on the outside, Ethan and Lily Caldwell were a dream couple. Ethan was a well-known architectural designer. Lily was a financial consultant with a pristine reputation and a climbing career. They had a spacious modern home in Brookdale Heights, 2 kids who attended private school, and a picture-perfect family portrait hanging over the mantel. But behind the polished image, there was tension. Not yelling. Ethan was never the screaming type. Just a quiet, simmering hostility. Lily hated when he controlled decisions about money. Ethan hated when she dismissed his concerns as emotional or old-fashioned. Their marriage hadn't been equal in years. It had been a negotiation, cold, strategic, and suffocating. So maybe he shouldn't have been surprised when the cracks finally split wide open. A week after the dinner, Ethan received a message from Jack Edwards, the CEO of the firm Lily often worked with. "Hawthorne invited us to his private island next weekend. Bring Lily, bring yourself. Good opportunity to bond." Ethan almost declined, but Lily lit up like someone had handed her a new life. "It's a huge opportunity," she said breathlessly. "William rarely invites families. You have to come." He didn't like the way she spoke about William. Too eager, too impressed. But he agreed, mostly because he didn't trust leaving her alone with Hawthorne. The island was absurd. A stretch of turquoise water, glittering like shattered glass in the sun, palms rustling lazily in the warm breeze, a mansion the size of a hotel perched on a slope overlooking the ocean. It was decadent and unreal, like stepping into someone's fantasy. William greeted them on the dock wearing linen and a smile too smooth to be friendly. "Ethan, Lily, welcome to Eden's Reach," he announced, spreading his arms. Behind him stood his security chief, Shane Talbot, a silent shadow with a stare like steel. Ethan noticed the man hardly blinked. Lily was enthralled from the moment they stepped off the boat. "God," she whispered, "this is unbelievable." Ethan tried to smile, but he couldn't shake the tension curling in his spine. Lunch was served on a marble terrace overlooking the sea. The table was filled with seafood, rare wine and laughter, most of it directed toward Lily. William asked her endless questions about her work, her strategies, her future goals. He complimented her analysis, her intelligence, her poise. Not once did he ask Ethan anything meaningful. Ethan sat there, gripping his fork harder and harder, swallowing down the feeling of being irrelevant at his own wife's table. Lily glowed under William's attention. Not flirtatious, no, worse, admiring. Ethan recognized that admiration. She used to look at him like that. Dinner was glamorous and surreal. Candlelight flickered off crystal glasses. Music drifted from hidden speakers. Guests lounged in designer clothes, sipping aged whiskey and speaking like everyone was at least half royalty. It was there that Ethan met Charlotte Vale, William's longtime friend, sometimes assistant, sometimes more. No one knew for sure. She had bright red lipstick, a low-cut black dress, and eyes that scanned Ethan like she could see through his bones. "You look bored," she said, sliding beside him. "I'm fine," he replied. "Liar." She smirked. "Men like you don't do well at these parties. Too many sharks." She leaned close enough that he smelled her perfume. "William's interested in your wife," she whispered. "Everyone sees it. Has it ever crossed your mind to enjoy the evening yourself?" Her meaning was unmistakable. Her hand brushed his. Ethan jerked away. "I'm married." Charlotte's smile thinned. "So is half this island." Later that night, when the guests had drifted away, William approached Ethan again. His expression was calm, almost friendly. "I'll repeat my offer," William said softly. 100,000, 2 nights. Lily is exceptional. I'd value the time. Ethan's jaw clenched. "Go to hell." William didn't flinch. "You should think with your head, not your ego. You want money? Stability? Opportunities? I can give you all of that. Just say yes." Ethan shoved his chair back violently. "You're disgusting." Behind William, Shane took one step forward, but William lifted a hand, stopping him. "You know where to find me when you're done sulking," he said, almost bored. Ethan stormed out into the garden, fury curling inside him like a live wire. He paced between lantern-lit pathways, muttering curses. His pride was bleeding, his trust cracking, and his sense of control slipping. He wasn't the kind of man who tolerated humiliation, especially not from some smug billionaire. And then he realized Lily wasn't behind him. She hadn't followed. Where was she? Where had she gone the moment he rejected William's offer? The questions stabbed him over and over. He eventually found her the next morning, sitting on the veranda, laughing at something William whispered into her ear. At that moment, Ethan's vision blurred with rage. He didn't know what she had done last night. He didn't know where she had slept. He didn't know what she had agreed to. But he knew one thing. Whatever was happening on that island, it was breaking his marriage apart. Forever. Ethan didn't remember crossing the patio. One moment he was frozen, watching Lily lean toward William with that soft, almost girlish laugh he hadn't heard in years. The next, he was standing in the doorway, his presence cutting clean through the morning sunlight and slamming into everyone like a dropped anchor. "Well," Ethan said loudly, too loudly, "is everyone enjoying the show?" Forks clattered. Conversations died instantly. Lily's face drained of color. William only raised an eyebrow, the corner of his mouth twitching as if amused. Shane, ever the silent sentinel, shifted his weight slightly, subtle, but enough to let Ethan know he was ready if things escalated. Lily stood up quickly, smoothing her dress with trembling hands. "Ethan, please," she said. "Can we talk about this privately?" "Are you kidding me?" Ethan barked. "Privately? After what I saw? What exactly did you see?" William asked calmly, slicing into his omelet like the situation bored him. "Oh, I saw enough," Ethan spat. "I saw my wife making eyes at a billionaire who thinks he can buy whatever he wants." William dabbed the corner of his mouth with a napkin. "Let's not pretend I'm the only villain here, Ethan. I presented an offer. Lily can make her own choices. She's not your property." Something in Ethan snapped. He stepped closer, heat rising behind his eyes. Lily grabbed his arm desperately. "Ethan, stop, please. Think about the kids. Think about our home. Think about—" "Oh, now you think about our home?" Ethan hissed. "What happened last night, Lily? Where were you?" Lily's lips parted, her breath trembling. "We didn't. Ethan, nothing happened, I swear. I needed space. You were furious." "You needed space?" Ethan echoed with a bitter laugh. "Space from your husband. On a billionaire's private island." Her eyes glistened. "You don't trust me." "Should I?" he shot back. William lifted his glass. "Trust is fragile. Some men handle it with grace. Others?" He glanced at Ethan's clenched fists. "Not so much." Ethan lunged before he could stop himself, but Shane was between them in a heartbeat, gripping Ethan's shoulders in iron-like hands. "Don't," Shane growled quietly. "Not here." Ethan wrenched away, shaking with rage. He wasn't a violent man, he wasn't impulsive. But this humiliation, was eating him alive. He stormed out, Lily rushing behind him. "Ethan," she called. "Wait. We need to talk." He whirled around. "Talk? You want to talk about selling yourself? About letting this man treat you like a product he can price?" Lily's tears finally spilled. "It's not like that. You don't understand." "Oh, believe me," he said cruelly. "I'm starting to understand just fine." She stared at him, devastated. "You're hurting me." "Good." The coldness in his tone made her flinch. Hours later, Ethan sat alone on the far end of the beach, the crashing waves barely loud enough to drown out his thoughts. His pride, his marriage, his sense of control, they all felt like they were slipping through his fingers. Then footsteps approached. William, holding 2 glasses and a bottle of 100-year-old scotch. "I figured you needed a drink," William said casually, handing Ethan a glass. Ethan didn't take it. "What do you want now?" William sighed, as if the whole thing was tedious. "To clear the air. This doesn't have to be personal. I'm offering opportunity, not insult." "You're insane," Ethan muttered. "I'm rich," William corrected. "That tends to blur the line." He poured himself a drink and sat down beside Ethan, staring at the horizon. "You're angry," he said. "Understandable. But consider this. Men in your position usually realize anger doesn't pay the mortgage. Anger doesn't fund projects. Anger doesn't secure your children's future." Ethan glared at him. "I'd rather starve than take your money." "Everyone says that," William replied softly. "Until they don't." His tone shifted, serious now. 250,000, final offer, 2 nights. Ethan surged to his feet, fists clenched. "Don't ever say Lily's name again." "Or what?" William asked quietly. Ethan didn't think. He struck. The hit connected squarely with William's jaw, sending the billionaire stumbling backward onto the sand. For a split second, Ethan felt a savage satisfaction. Then 2 guards tackled him from behind, pinning him down, face grinding into the sand. Shane walked over, slow and deliberate, towering over Ethan. "You're done," Shane said. "You'll leave this island in the next hour." William spat blood into the sand, and laughed. Actually laughed. "Throw him out," he said. Ethan was escorted to a supply dock, bruised and humiliated. A cargo boat waited. Rusty, loud, reeking of fuel. "This is ridiculous," Ethan growled as Shane shoved him aboard. "Count yourself lucky," Shane replied. "If William were a different man, you'd be leaving in a body bag." The boat rumbled to life, pushing away from the island. As the mansion shrank in the distance, Ethan felt something break inside him. Anger, betrayal, humiliation, but under it all, a horrible, gnawing fear. What was Lily doing now? What choice would she make without him there? And worst of all, would she even miss him? When Ethan arrived home that night, he didn't cry. He didn't scream. He didn't collapse. He walked into their walk-in closet, pulled out Lily's dresses, her blouses, her designer shoes, her jewelry, every trace of her, and carried it all into the backyard. Then he soaked it in lighter fluid. He watched the flames rise, bright and greedy, turning silk and lace into blackened threads. For the first time in days, he felt in control. He felt powerful. He felt justified. The fire reflected in his eyes as he whispered, "You made your choice." Lily didn't come home until the next afternoon. Ethan heard the car before he saw her. Tires crunching on the driveway, the familiar hum of the engine slipping into park. He stood by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, jaw stiff. The sliding door to the backyard was still open, letting in the smell of smoke and the faint crackle of dying embers. Lily walked into the yard and froze. Her clothes, her shoes, her jewelry, everything she loved had melted into a heap of charred remains. The fire pit still glowed faintly, the ashes swirling with the breeze. She clapped a hand over her mouth, horrified. "What? What did you do?" she whispered. Ethan stepped outside. "I cleaned up," he said coldly. Lily turned to him, tears gathering, her posture unsteady. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept at all. Her mascara was smudged, her dress wrinkled, her hair messy. She looked like someone coming down from a terrible, beautiful high. "You destroyed my things," she said in disbelief. "No," Ethan replied. "You destroyed us." She blinked hard. "Ethan, you don't understand. I didn't—" "Save it." He walked past her, into the house. "I want the truth. All of it. Every second you were on that island. And don't you dare lie to me again." Lily followed him inside, wiping her face. "In the last 12 hours, I've been humiliated, thrown out, and made into a joke," Ethan continued. "Now it's your turn." Lily swallowed hard. "Ethan, William didn't actually pay me or touch me." "Oh?" Ethan snapped. "And I'm supposed to believe that?" "He said he would help me. He said I'd get the money. But he never sent anything. He never promised it in writing. I swear, I didn't sleep with him." He stared at her, searching her eyes for lies. "And you expect me to believe you were just sightseeing on that island while he dangled cash in your face?" Lily's lip trembled. "I was stupid. I admit that. I got lost in the attention, the luxury, the excitement. I let it go too far. But I didn't. I didn't sell myself." Ethan's voice was ice. "No contract, no money, no dignity. Great job, Lily." She flinched like he had struck her. "You don't have to say it like that," she whispered. "Oh, I do. Because while you were off chasing billionaire fantasies, I was being thrown onto a cargo ship like trash." Tears spilled again. But Ethan didn't soften. "You abandoned me," he said. "You embarrassed me. You didn't fight for me. You didn't even come after me." "I couldn't," she cried. "William wouldn't let me leave until morning. Shane said it was too dangerous at night." "Oh, please," Ethan scoffed. "You always have an excuse." Her knees buckled, and she sank onto the couch. "You're right," she whispered. "I failed you." But Ethan didn't respond, because what came next would change everything. Hours later, after a tense silence, the kids came home from school. Emma, their 13-year-old daughter, sharp and sensitive, and Caleb, their 10-year-old son, oblivious to most things except video games and soccer. Emma took one look at the tension in the room and frowned. "What happened?" she asked quietly. Before Ethan could stop her, Lily rushed to Emma, kneeling in front of her. "Sweetheart," she said desperately, "your dad and I are going through something difficult, but we're going to fix it, okay?" Emma pulled back slightly, wary. "Mom," she said carefully, "I heard things today, at school." Lily went pale. Emma's voice cracked. "Someone said you did something with Mr. Hawthorne." Ethan's eyes snapped to Lily's face. Lily's voice broke. "Emma, that's not—" "Is it true?" Emma whispered. Lily shook her head violently. "No, I made a mistake, but not that." Emma didn't answer. She stepped back, her eyes filling with betrayal. Caleb hovered near the stairs, sensing fear even if he didn't understand it. "Kids," Ethan said firmly, "go upstairs for a moment." Emma didn't move. "Emma," he repeated softly, "please." She finally turned and went up the stairs, wiping her face with the sleeve of her hoodie. Caleb followed. Lily collapsed against the back of the couch, shaking. "This is all falling apart," she whispered. "My job, my kids, my life." "For once," Ethan said, "that's not my fault." She shot him a furious look. "You think you're the victim. You burned my things. You threatened me. You humiliated me in front of the kids." "Humiliated you," Ethan barked. "You humiliated yourself." They were both breathing hard. The air felt electric and poisonous. Then Lily did something unexpected. She straightened her back. Her tears dried, and her voice dropped into steel. "I'm taking you to court," she said. "You threatened me. You assaulted William. You burned my belongings. I can prove you're emotionally abusive." Ethan laughed. "Good luck with that, because I recorded you." Her eyes widened, panic flashing. "What?" "Audio tapes," he said. "Messages. Your conversations with William. Your offers. Everything." "You wouldn't," she whispered. "Oh, I would." She rose to her feet, trembling with rage. "You think you can take the kids from me?" "I don't think," Ethan said. "I know." She stared at him, horrified. Then she stormed into the guest bedroom and slammed the door so hard the walls shook. Ethan didn't chase her. He didn't say another word. Because for the first time since the island, he knew he would win. The next days unfolded like a slow-burning war. Lily tried to sue William for the money he had promised, but without a contract, without proof, without any record, she had nothing. Her lawyer advised her to drop it. "Not even worth filing," he said flatly. Worse, Jack Edwards and his wife, Margaret, refused to testify on Lily's behalf. "We're not getting involved," Jack said. "This whole thing is toxic." Lily's reputation shrank to ashes almost as quickly as the clothes Ethan had burned. Her firm put her on leave, pending review. Her clients ghosted her. Her colleagues avoided her. Ethan watched it all quietly. He didn't push. He didn't gloat. He just waited. And when Lily finally broke, it wasn't with screaming. It was with a sound Ethan had never heard from her before. A low, despairing sob. A sound of someone who realizes their life has slipped through their fingers, and they have nobody to blame but themselves. Lily's collapse wasn't sudden. It was the slow, steady draining of color from her life, like watching a painting fade under harsh sunlight. She moved through the house like a ghost, barely eating, barely speaking. Even Caleb, usually oblivious, began asking, "Mom, are you sick?" Lily always answered with the same empty smile. "Just tired, baby." But the truth was visible in every part of her. She had lost her confidence, her career, her social circle, her authority as a mother, and worst of all, her children's respect. Ethan didn't feel triumphant. He felt resolute. This was the path she had chosen. The custody hearing approached like a storm. Lily walked into the courthouse looking fragile, wearing a suit that didn't quite fit her anymore, shoulders drooping, eyes hollow, hair limp. She clutched a folder of documents like a lifeline. Ethan stood tall and composed, his lawyer beside him. When the judge entered, the room stiffened. Lily's lawyer tried. He really did. He painted Ethan as overly controlling, temperamental, harsh. But without witnesses, without recordings, without anyone willing to corroborate Lily's claims, his arguments dissolved. Ethan's side, however, came prepared. His attorney played audio clips, Lily flirting with William, discussing possibilities, giggling about 2 days of luxury. Text messages flashed across the court monitors, messages that made Lily shrink in her seat. The final blow was a grainy video from the island's terrace camera, showing Lily leaning into William as he whispered something in her ear. Not proof of cheating, but proof of intent. The judge glanced between the two of them, his face unreadable. "Given the evidence," he said finally, "custody will be granted to the father. The mother may retain visitation rights every other weekend." Lily gasped like someone had punched her. "And child support," the judge added, "will be the mother's responsibility." The words hit her like a falling building. When the session ended, she stumbled out of the courtroom, shaking. Ethan expected her to lash out, to scream, to demand justice. Instead, she whispered, "Please don't take them away from me." He looked at her for a long moment. "You took yourself away from them," he said softly. "I'm just cleaning up the damage." That was the moment Lily broke completely. She moved out 2 weeks later. Her new apartment was small, dim, and located above a noisy laundromat. The wallpaper peeled, the kitchen smelled like bleach. The windows rattled whenever the street bus passed. Her job search went terribly. Her field didn't want to touch someone with a scandal attached, especially one involving her boss's boss. She ended up working the register of a budget clothing store, minimum wage, irregular hours, unpredictable shifts. Every day she looked more tired, more defeated. Ethan noticed during the visitation drop-offs. She was thinner, her cheeks hollowed, her eyes dull. Sometimes she smelled faintly of cheap wine, and every time she hugged the kids goodbye, she held them a little too tightly. One evening, 3 months after the court ruling, Lily showed up at Ethan's house unannounced. It was raining hard, merciless sheets hammering the pavement. When Ethan opened the door, she stood there soaked, trembling, hair plastered to her face. "Is Emma home?" she asked, voice cracking. "Visitation is tomorrow," Ethan said cautiously. "Please, I just need to see her. Just for a minute." He hesitated, but before he could answer, footsteps sounded from the stairs. "Emma!" She froze at the sight of her mother on the porch. "Hi, sweetheart," Lily whispered. I missed you." Emma's face tightened. She stepped back. "I'm not supposed to talk to you today." "Emma, please, I saw the video," Emma snapped suddenly. Dad showed me. Ethan stiffened. Emma. But she kept going. You were with Mr. Hawthorne. You were laughing. You let him touch you. And now everyone at school calls you... Her voice broke. Lily choked on her breath. No, Emma, they're lying. I didn't... You did! Emma cried, tears streaming. You ruined everything. You left Dad alone. You made us a joke. Lily reached out with shaking hands. Please don't say that. I love you. You're not my mom, Emma whispered. The words sliced the night open. Lily staggered backward as if stabbed. Her eyes filled with terror and grief deeper than anything Ethan had ever seen. Lightning flashed overhead. Rain poured down her face like the sky was crying for her. Emma, she whispered. Baby. But Emma had already turned away. The door closed softly. Not slammed. Not locked. Just closed. Lily stood there for a few seconds. Then she pressed a hand to her chest, as if her heart physically hurt. I'm sorry, she whispered to the door. I'm so sorry. And then she walked away. Into the storm. Her silhouette disappeared into the darkness. Small, broken, and utterly alone. Ethan watched from the upstairs window long after she was gone. For the first time, he didn't feel anger. He felt something far more complicated. He had won. He had protected his kids, kept the house, secured his future, rebuilt his life. But watching Lily vanish into the rain, swallowed by her own mistakes, he realized something. This wasn't victory. This was the cost. And she was paying it for the rest of her life.